schools of the Taoists, of the Christian mystics, of the Kabbalists, the Hasidic Jews, and so on. So those are the categories that, in my opinion, have healing and transformative and evolutionary power. And psychiatry today puts it all into one bag. They're all altered states of consciousness and all pathological. So now, when I started using LSD as a kind of adjunct to psychotherapy, I came equipped with Freudian analysis, which means the psyche basically is postnatal biography. Freud said the newborn is a tabula rasa, it's a clean slate, there's nothing there. In psychiatry and psychology, there's nothing preceding birth that's of any psychological interest, including birth itself. Birth is not considered a trauma, which is unbelievable if you think about it, because we have now extensive literature showing there's enormous sensitivity already in the fetus. There are all kinds of experiments that are being done. You play Vivaldi to pregnant mothers, and if you play Vivaldi in the nursery, you know, the kids would be doing better. They would sleep better, they would gain more weight, and so on. So we have experimental evidence there is sensitivity there, and then there is general agreement that what happens after birth is extremely important, including what's called bonding, the exchange of looks between the mother and the child. And at the same time, birth is not considered important unless it's so bad that it damages your brain in some sense. But just the hours of birth, the struggle in the birth canal, something that can bring the fetus close to death, is not considered trauma. So there's something wrong in the psychiatric thinking. There's a real logical gap if you think about it. So I came equipped with traditional psychiatry, where the psyche basically is a record of what happened to you in infancy, in childhood, and later in life. And then there is the so-called individual unconscious, which is also a kind of derivative of postnatal biography, things that you rejected, you have forgotten, you have repressed, and so on. So I came equipped with this kind of a model, and of course, as we were doing sort of repeated psychedelic sessions, none of the clients would stay in that kind of narrow playground, which was supposed to be psyche, according to Western psychology. Sooner or later, people started moving into this area that I called perinatal, which means they were experiencing that they are sort of trapped somehow, experienced tremendous pressures, tremendous fear was happening. They had the feeling they were going crazy, they were losing control, they would never come back. And there I was, responsible for these states. They were telling me they were dying, going crazy, and so on. But the drug was already in their body, and I knew using tranquilizers at this point would not do it, because that would actually freeze it in that place, which is the routine approach today to so-called bad trips. The worst thing that you can do to somebody who is in a psychedelic session. So I had to, sit there and do the best, and I suddenly saw that, like Dr. Hoffman, that these people actually were sort of breaking out, and they felt great afterwards if we managed to stay there. Then, of course, I had the experiences myself, and I realized the value of these experiences. Now, there was a very, very interesting dilemma that was happening here, which was, I knew as a psychiatrist, I knew about these experiences. I knew people can have death rebirth experiences, or experiences of destruction of the world and recreation of the world, or past life experiences, or images of deities and demonic presences. But I was told that this was some kind of pathology that was hitting the brain and was generating all these kinds of experiences. Only now we had two problems. One was that these experiences happened on a continuum with experiences that were memorized from childhood and from infancy. There was no demarcation there. It was like one continuum. And then, of course, there was the fact that if you stay with those experiences, they would be healing and transformative. Actually, they would create positive changes that were way beyond anything that we can do pharmacologically, you know, with suppressive medication. So again, to make a long story short, what I started doing when I overcame the discomfort, the fear of those experiences, because here I was giving a powerful substance to my patients, and they were having these wild experiences.